What is good, y'all? Thank you for coming to check me out at Win with Areatha. I am Areatha, and I wanted to just stop by and give some quick tips and some good advice if you are looking to purchase a short sale. So this is definitely Tip Tuesday, and I definitely wanted to leave a good tip for those that are looking to buy a short sale property. Okay, now if this is your first time here, definitely make sure you follow me or hit that subscribe button and notification bell so that way you can get updated information when I upload a new video, and you can stay in the know what's going on in real estate. And don't forget to hit that like button so that way I can know that you like this information and I can keep giving you information. And leave some comments for anything that you're looking to find out information for, or just simply something that you think that you might want to give the 2 cents on. I have no problem hearing you guys out, okay? So the first tip that I definitely want to get to those that are looking to buy a short sale property, you definitely want to get pre-approved. Getting pre-approved is crucial. Reason why, because like I explained in the previous video, or if you haven't seen the video at all, don't hesitate to check out a video that I explain what a short sale is, okay? Now, if you're looking to buy a short sale, I know people don't usually want to get a pre-approval, but I do want to give you a nice, good heads up that getting a pre-approval is super important. It's as if you're going to the supermarket and you're looking to get these items on your grocery list. It's in your best interest to look into your wallet and know what your budget is. It's nothing worse than standing in a line and you have a whole bunch of people behind you and they're huffing and puffing, and then you got to have the cashier get that void card to be able to remove some items that you can't necessarily afford right now that you really want, but that's not on your list, you know? So you definitely want to make sure that checking the budget is super crucial before going grocery shopping, before buying a car. Same thing. You don't want to have to pay higher on that down payment or have to walk away from that car you really like and have to settle for a different vehicle that you're like, I really don't like that gas guzzler. You really definitely want to check your budget. So getting a pre-approval is definitely key and is one of those things that you definitely want to get before looking for the property, okay? Number 2 is definitely if you're buying cash, it's still important to show proof of your funds, to show the money. Just show the money, whether it's in your bank statement or it's in your 1040 or even a Roth RIA. You want to still be able to show a statement showing that you have the funds ready and available. So you definitely want to have a proof of funds on hand to show the money, to show that you are for it, that you can be able to move to the closing table. Because at this point, the bank ain't playing with nobody, okay? If they're already in a short sale, meaning they're already losing money, they're already losing time on receiving the money that they originally got promised from the original homeowner. So the last thing you want to do is not be able to show proof that you got the funds to be able to get to the closing table and that they don't even have to be bothered with you no more. So you definitely want to make sure proof of funds, that is definitely super important. Even when you're buying cash, definitely buying cash, proof of funds is important, okay? And then number 3, the buyer has to be willing to make a reasonable offer. Now, reasonable, okay? Now, again, when I say reasonable, I mean, you don't want to lowball this. You don't. You just don't want to lowball this. Simply because, like I explained before with a short sale, the bank is already losing out. So the last thing they want to do is play with you. They're not going to play with you because they have to approve this. It's going to take some time. So you definitely want to make sure that you're going to give them a reasonable offer Now, reasonable is definitely somewhere within 8% to 10% of the asking price, because again, they're already losing money on this particular property because of the loan is not being fully satisfied to the original agreement. So don't play around with them. They're ready to take the money that you're willing to give, but lowballing them is not going to get you very far. It's just going to take longer for them to look over everything and approve everything. So definitely giving a reasonable offer. And again, I can't stress this enough. Like at least anywhere between 8 to 10% of the asking price, or at asking price, even better, at the asking price or above ask. Well, maybe not above, because it may not even it may not actually go through, but you still want to at least make sure you're at asking price, or at least 8 to 10% below asking price. Don't play with them, okay? The bank has already lost enough time. So speaking of time, number 4, you definitely want to make sure you're being realistic on your expectations on the time frame of when you're going to actually get to the closing table. Reason why I say have reasonable expectations and realistic expectations is simply because usually a regular sale, if you're buying cash, you can get it closed within 7 to 10 business days, okay? Because it's just going to move quicker, because you're not going to have to wait for a bank. Now, if you're getting pre-approved and have to get a mortgage, closing and getting to the closing table can actually take anywhere from 30 to 45 days. And the reason why that is because you're dealing with 2 different banks. That's not 2 different banks, because if it's a regular sale, it'd be 30 to 40 days if it was a regular sale. Okay. So what happens is it takes 30 to 45 days simply because you're having to go through the bank, having to approve everything, and an appraisal has to happen. So definitely making sure that you're reasonable on that, because what happens is with a short sale, it's going to take a little bit longer. It can take anywhere from 45 days to 60 days, sometimes even 90 days. And again, you want to be realistic with this, that it can take up to 90 days. Reason why is because at this point, you're having 2 banks go back and forth on one bank that's already losing money. So they're trying to make sure that they satisfy that amount that they originally got, or at least the amount they're originally agreeing to short sale to. And then 2, you have your bank, the second bank, the buyer's bank, that is saying, hey, this is what I'm willing to give. And then they have to go through an appraisal process. And there's a lot of different back and forth that's going through. So it can take 45 to 90 days, depending on how these banks communicate and how quick everything can get approved. So definitely we want to be realistic, because number 5, the closing date can be flexible. Like one day you'll hear that, we're clear to close. And then next, something came up, whether it's title search, or maybe all the liens didn't get taken care of, all the property taxes didn't get taken care of. These type of things can just pop up, and sometimes extra expenses can come about. So you definitely want to take that into consideration, and being a little flexible with the closing date, because everyone has to have their documents correct. They have to have everything on paper. Both banks have to make sure that they cross all their T's and dot their I's. So you want to definitely make sure that you're flexible on the closing date, and it can change from time to time when it comes to a short sale, just simply because you're dealing with 2 different banks that's communicating in 2 different ways. So that brings us to number 6, where you want to definitely be willing to process with the following prior short sale approval. Now, what I mean by that is you want to really to proceed with the prior short sale approval. So the short sale approval, what happens is the bank has to approve this short sale. Okay, the original bank, they have to approve and be okay with the price you're going to give them. So that means you have to be willing to give some earnest money. Now, earnest money is just simply demonstrating good faith, whether it's $1,000 or some sum of money, just representing that the buyer's intentions is really to purchase this property and not to play any game. And this gives extra time to secure financing and conduct the necessary checks to bring you to the closing table. So definitely having a little extra earnest money set aside is always helpful because, like I explained earlier, liens come up, property taxes come up, surveying the property comes up. You need to make sure that there's housing insurance on the property. So definitely, not only with your closing costs, you want to definitely have some earnest money, so that way there'll be extra money there, so that way there won't be any hiccups and any issues that they will not have enough money for. Because again, remember, the short sale is originally about money for the bank. Okay. And if the bank is not satisfied with how much money is available and liquidable, they're going to have an issue. So definitely some earnest money is definitely crucial. Okay. And inspections. Now, in some cases, you're not able to do an inspection prior to putting in an offer. So definitely make sure you have an inspector ready for when they give you the okay to be able to do it. Because sometimes, let's just keep it real, when the seller or original owner is letting go of that property, if they're not able to afford their mortgage, chances are they're not able to afford repairs on that property. So just keep in mind, the property may not be in the best condition. So you definitely want to make sure you do some inspections when the bank allows you to be able to get in, or the homeowner allows you to get in. So that way you'll know what you're working with, and also be able to get a contractor in to be able to do some estimates. So that way you'll know exactly how much you're going to be able or going to need to spend to have the property either habitable or at least to the way you want it. Because at this point, if you're living there or you're going to use it as investment property, you definitely want to keep in mind the numbers and what that's going to look like. Now, you also going to need to do some mortgage applications and appraisal fees, okay? Now, mortgage application, that's something that you're going to have to do anyway, but still be prepared to do additional applications because, again, you're working with your bank and then you're working with the seller's bank. Okay, so you definitely want to keep these things in mind of the extra documents that you're going to need to complete. And again, we're crossing our T's and dotting our I's here. Both banks are doing that. So chances are you're going to need to do that too. Okay, and the appraisal fee, everyone needs to do an appraisal, whether it's a short sale, a normal sale, you're going to have to do an appraisal. And you're going to have to pay a fee for that. Reason why is because you're literally going to make sure that the property is being sold at the appropriate price. Now, I know a lot of buyers are saying they want to make sure they get a good deal and they make sure they're not overpaying for the property. And this is how you know that you're not overpaying for a property and that you are, in fact, getting a good deal. Because what happens is the appraiser is not like an inspection, because the inspector is like someone that specializes in making sure that the bones and everything is good in the property, versus an appraiser works with the bank. They provide the documentation. They not only go by the comparable properties in the neighborhood, they also go inside the property and do like a thorough inspection, just like an inspector does. But they also make sure they number and do the pricing exactly on what the property value actually is supposed to be. So those are definitely the top 6 things that I wanted to give some tips on when it comes to buying a short sale property, if you are interested in doing so. It does take a little bit more time and a little bit more due diligence, but trust me, it is worth it because you're getting a property that is probably below market. Let's just keep it real. Now, when I say below market price, because market price can be $600,000, but a short sale property, again, the bank is willing to take less than what they were originally agreed upon. So you're more than likely going to get a decent deal. And again, face it, you might have to do some repairs on it, but if you're lucky, you don't have to, depending on how that person kept up with the property. So you definitely want to keep these things in mind. Now, if this information was useful to you, please definitely make sure that you hit that like button, share with a friend that you may know that is interested in getting a short sale, and definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need some more detailed information. Leave a comment. I have no problem answering those questions or helping you out directly if you're looking to make a deal happen, okay? As always, you have a great day on purpose.